Good, thank you.
Have a name tag for you.
We're getting fancy. We're getting fancy.
There you go. Eric, you wanna- Yep, I'm ready.
I'd like to call the June 5th meeting of the Springfield Police Advisory Committee meeting to order. Tiffany, would you please call the roll
Yes. I will.
momentarily?
Okay, Michelle Weber? Here? Josh
Sorry, here.
Aguilar is excused, Daniel Davidson is excused, Cindy Koza?
Here.
Hi Cindy.
I don't think we can hear them.
I know, what's going on with that?
Can you
Why
hear
don't
me?
you try to talk so we can see if we can hear you?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
No.
We can't hear Cindy.
Michelle,
Oh.
can you try talk?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you,
That's
Michelle.
not good.
You don't have audio on our end.
Hang on one sec.
You select the microphone.
I did. Testing, testing, testing.
Technology, can you hear us?
Hit the arrow on the far right.
This one?
Yeah. Is that where we're supposed to
Trying to figure
go?
out technology.
The real one, that real tech is what we have to hit downstairs. I don't know if that makes any
This one?
difference. The next one.
I saw that.
When you show the actual computer.
Are you talking?
I'm,
Sometimes it won't
Can you hear
switch
us?
in the Zoom call either, though.
Hmm.
So you have to go to the audio options on that. On the far left, next to lower, very far left of audio. Bottom corner, yeah. And then do this. Yep.
Okay, try talking now.
Can you hear me now? 1, 2, 3.
Oh, wait.
Wait a minute.
Now you can. Where's the volume? Cause I
Yeah.
can hear her, but it's really
I
low.
heard too.
Oh, you heard her?
Okay, go to audio settings.
Where?
In that menu at the bottom. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
See how you can kind of hear?
Yeah, just barely.
Michelle, will you try talking?
Yeah, can you hear me?
See, you can barely hear it out
That's
there.
weird. Never had this problem before. Oh, try that. Is there a setting on there for audio?
Audio. Yeah.
I know, we've never had this problem. It's just camera stuff.
Yeah. And it's not like that's on. Yeah.
Cause you can kind of hear her.
Checking.
Okay.
They can hear us, I think.
You guys
We
can
can
hear
hear
us,
you.
okay? Yeah, just.
Yeah,
my
we can hear you.
recording's Not gonna be very.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't know that the recording's happening.
That's
Yeah.
true. Someone talk again. No,
Hello.
Can you
1,
hear us?
2, 3.
try this one. How about now?
Can you hear me now?
Hi,
You don't hear
Hello.
anything on those other two?
Mhm.
testing technology.
Yeah.
Should I try?
I was just gonna say what Cindy just said. We could just type our comments if that's.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just hope the minutes. Yes, please type your comments, because I don't know.
Yeah.
And we do have a guest, so we'll have to see. All right, back to this. Jonathan Hayes is not here. Carla Berg? Here. Terry Dillon?
Here.
Adam Jenkins?
Here.
Art Yancey is excused. Eric Adams?
Here.
Okay.
This item on the agenda, approval of minutes from the April preferred 2025 meeting.
I move to approve the meeting minutes as written.
I'll second. Right, on favor, say or raise your hand. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Cindy? Aye. Okay, thank you. Minutes are approved. Okay, next item, business from the audience.
You can read,
Go ahead and read it.
read that part, yeah.
Okay. Okay, public testimony will be received during business of the audience. As a reminder, the meeting is being recorded. Committee will listen to your comments, but will not respond to public comment until the committee response portion of the meeting agenda. Meeting minutes will be taken by staff and forwarded to the city manager and city council. Members of the public can always send written testimony to the committee or city council. As we begin our meeting tonight, I would ask members of the virtual audience to please keep yourselves on mute until you are called to provide public testimony. Speakers in person will be allowed to speak first, after which virtual audience members will be allowed to speak. Public testimony will allow speakers 2 minutes each for a total of 20 minutes. If you are joining us online with a tablet, smartphone, or computer and wish to speak, please use the raise hand feature to make the request. You will be called on when it is your turn to speak. Please identify your name, Springfield board number, the subject you would like to speak about. For people calling in by phone only, you are in listen mode only and cannot be called upon.
Okay, we do have one audience member here that would like to speak. His name is Curtis Blankenship. He's from Ward 3 regarding the noise ordinance. Curtis,
What do you want me to do from here?
stand up and speak loud. At least we can hear you.
So, yeah, I live on 32nd Street. I'm not sure if that's Ward 3 or 4. And I just want to talk about the noise ordinance. You know, I've called a lot of times about my neighbors. I have a nuisance neighbor, and now we're coming up on 4th of July, and they set off mortars every year. And this is a problem for me because, so what happened, let me just give you a little history of what happened was, I went to a lawyer, you know, where you pay $35 and get a consultation, and he told me to just keep calling the police. Your dispatch told me to keep calling the police. And then I explained to the dispatch that I was driving for the mill and I have to work, you know, I'm working 14-hour days and driving to Seattle in a 100,000-pound truck. So I have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. So I said, do you need me to wait for the officer to get here? No problem. We'll just come out and take care of it. And so I did this many times to very irritating. And finally I waited up for the guy and he told me that he was going to arrest me if I kept calling. And in his defense, he also said that if I have video, that I need to have video. And he gave me a minute there or two to show him I have a cheap security camera system there that I could barely use, and I couldn't pull up video for him that night. So this is not, so now I've had a heart attack and lost my job. And not, you know, I'm not blaming you for my heart attack because I had health problems and stuff like that, but somebody someday is there's a potential lawsuit there, I would think, where, you know, the dispatch, so there's a disconnect between the dispatch and what's going on with the police, a major disconnect. And also there were I was talking to several different dispatchers. You know, one was really sympathetic. The other one was saying that, was giving me, you know, more parameters that I needed for the call. So yeah, if you could, so again, the fireworks though, if you could take care of the fireworks this year. I know other people have complained about this at the city council. Thank you.
Thank you. It doesn't look like anybody online is raising their hands. So. Right.
Okay.
And
Go on then to committee response. Would anyone like to offer follow-up? The public testimony.
So let's follow up to public
Yeah.
testimony. Okay.
if you'd like to offer any or.
Do you have something, Carl? Oh, okay. Just look like it.
I was looking for the you.
Huh? Oh, no, I know you were like, I have comment. I was just wondering if anybody else had comment. So Curtis, is it just fireworks that you're hearing, or is it something else throughout the year?
No, they have if I may, they think that they can run a motorcycle shop there, and they're fixing their motorcycles and racing them up and down the street and revving them in the backyard. Now, they've toned that down, but just now when I left, they had the radio blasting, and they brought their friends over, because they're gonna go for a weekend ride. So every Thursday and Friday now, they set up their whole ride for their motocross ride, with encompassing noises to do all that. And I just talked to them a couple of weeks ago, and they explained to me that they think it's an industrial area, and and I'll wrap it up, but they told me, she said, I'm 47 years old, I've lived here for 47 years. Well, her parents, when I bought the place, her parents owned the place, and it's a bunch of retirees, and the street was quiet. And as her parents died and she took over the house, now they think they can just run a bunch of motorcycles. And, I used to blast my music out on the boulevard and stuff like that, but not on a residential street. I would always turn my music down when I was a kid on a residential street. So this is what I'm dealing with, and it's still not resolved. And I can't get code enforcement too out there. It's not helping me at all.
All right, I'll follow up on it for you.
All right, thank you.
And I have his email.
Okay.
To respond.
What else?
Well, I'm sorry, one more thing. I'm gonna send them a registered letter explaining the noise ordinance too, because they've denied, I told them what the noise ordinance was, and they say that doesn't apply
Okay,
and everything. So I'm gonna send them a registered letter with the noise ordinance.
okay.
And I will follow up with an email from you to get the exact address that you're referring
All
to.
right, thanks.
Next item of business, business from Springfield Police Department.
All right, so we have, our position, openings for officer, lateral police officer, and records positions right now. So if you know anybody who wants to do any of those, and if people are interested, but they maybe have had little experience or whatever, please just have them reach out. We're happy to do ride-alongs, or they can come talk to officers, they can talk to record staff, they can talk to whomever. If they're just even interested, I'd like just the opportunity to chat with people, because sometimes people are a little concerned if they haven't had experience that maybe they wouldn't be qualified, but that's absolutely not the case. So anybody who has interest, please pass that along. And then also National Night Out this year, which I think is August 5th. We are going to be doing that in conjunction with Willamette Lane out at Bob Kiefer. So it'll be kind of the southern end of the parking lot on the east side, obviously, because you only have parking on the east side. And then those two fields that are back there, it'll allow us to have a little bit more room to do some more events, to bring in some different vehicles, hopefully have a few more booths. But having those bigger fields, we're hoping that we can do better canine demos and drone demos and that kind of stuff. And it'll be nice to have a combination. Willamette Lane was gracious enough to also say they'll provide some music and some games and stuff. So I'm hoping it'll be a really good event, draw more people even. So Tiffany and Wendy are working on that on our end. So I'm hopeful that it'll be great. We'll make sure that you guys get all of that. So if you want to come volunteer, it'd be great.
August 5th?
August 5th. Yeah, it's national
Evening?
National Night Out is usually the first Tuesday in August. I think that's,
Every year.
yeah, yeah. So I think it's like 5 to 7 or 5 to 8.
Oh, crap. Oh. I put you guys on my cell phone. So they can't see you, but we can hear you if you want to talk.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
All good. Did you hear all that about National Night Out and everything?
Yeah.
They're
Okay.
shaking their head. Yeah.
All right, perfect.
I wish I could do both.
I know, it's all right. So here's just a couple things, a couple, I guess, good updates, good calls that we've had. So our canine officers have been busy. And as you know, we have two new-ish canines. So we have Poker and Taro, and then we have Kirby, who's kind of been our like long-term canine for a while. So there's just a couple calls just because people like to hear about them. So Officer O'Leary and Kirby assisted EPD with a search for a subject who had broke into a storage unit and menaced a security guard with an axe after he had been found and confronted. Then there was so that person then fled. And during the search around the surrounding area, Kirby indicated that he could smell someone, and he actually located him in a covered boat and lured into the boat, and the officers were able to find the suspect who was hiding inside. Initially, he was non-compliant, but he eventually came out after commands. He was taken into custody on multiple charges, as you can imagine, when you menace someone with an axe. Officer Garcia Cash and Poker, so that's our best like combo name right there. We got Cash and Poker. They responded to the area of 28th and F, South 28th and South F, to assist with locating a suspect who had fled, actually on a bicycle pursuit and then a foot pursuit over the railroad tracks. And Poker was able to alert to someone, and he had gone way deep into the blackberry bushes and stuff that are back there. But Poker was still able to figure out that he was back there. And the suspect originally wouldn't come out, and then Poker went into the blackberry bushes and got him, and then saved him back out. So he was taken into custody. And Officer Granillo and Taro, they responded again to help EPD locate two suspects who had fled on foot from a stolen vehicle after a vehicle pursuit. And Taro was actually able to pick up a track from the vehicle and went down a pretty long way, all the way down a creek through some vegetation, and found both of them hiding in the vegetation, and they came out after call from commands from officers. So it's pretty impressive what these dogs can do, how far they can track people and everything, but both of our new dogs are doing really well. And then I think we will be, because we had Nord who retired. Was it Nord that just retired? Yeah. So come probably August or September, we'll be getting another dog to replace him. So we'll be back up, but that takes about, it's several months until they're till the dogs pass standards in order to be able to go out full time, like out on the street with their human partner. So hopefully by the end of the year-ish, beginning of next year, we'll be back up to full canine staffing again. So, yeah.
I think you forgot one thing,
Oh, did I? Okay,
Mhm.
sorry. What did I forget?
some promotional ceremony.
Oh, yeah. So, I don't bring my notes.
Oh.
So, June 25th will be my official promotion ceremony. So I think it's at 3:00 here.
Right here.
Right here.
No, yes, right here.
Yeah, I think it's here on June 25th. So that will be official. And we did promote, for those of you who knew Sergeant Kyle Potter, he is now Lieutenant Kyle Potter. So he got promoted yesterday. And Andrew Douglas, who was canine officer, he was Nord's partner, is going to get promoted to sergeant the end of this month. So there'll be a couple other changes and stuff, but those are the upcoming promotions. Yeah.
Any questions? Online, any questions?
You guys have any questions online? So they can't see us now because my phone is facing the
Yeah,
ceiling.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Great, okay, moving on. Business from the committee, and first sub item under that, scheduled policy review starting with the 2024 use of work.
I know this is kind of a big document, but I thought you guys would want to see it. We just got these two completed, but this one is kind of big, but there's lots of graphs. So.
Yeah. And this is the one that we presented to council. I think it was actually in April. End of April.
Committee members who've been on for a while, I don't recall seeing this before, it's really comprehensive.
Yeah.
It was different.
Yeah. I think this is our third, like in this format, presenting it this way.
Yeah, and all the other ones are on our website.
Yeah. And so one of the things that we try to do is keep it as consistent as possible, like how we report things. We do make some changes because, since we got Blue Team and everything, we're still finding out the best way to present stuff. So you'll see a couple little changes from year to year, but for the most part, we try to keep it as consistent as possible and really do a good job of trying to educate people on how we count force and what we count as force. And we count just about everything and we report on everything. Yeah. which is a little different. Some agencies don't report on like shows of force, for example. So like if a canine officer gets out, his canine partner gets out and they, have the dog with them and they're telling the dog to bark, and they're telling somebody, hey, if you don't do what I say, then, if you run, the dog's going to chase you, that kind of stuff. That's considered a show of force, right there. If I'm pointing my taser at you, but I don't use it, that's a show of force. I'm using that tool to try to influence your behavior. And one of the reasons why I like to show that, or why I like to report on shows of force, is because they're very effective. We have 50 some shows of force with a canine and like 5 or 6 actually canine apprehensions, because they're very effective at getting people to behave. Yeah. So, and some agencies, like I said, report on different things, but I think it's really good to show how many times we can just show force and not actually use it. Yeah.
So they use display.
Display. So it'll either say like display of taser and that's counted as a show of force. Yeah.
I'm in a very silly mood, but I just got the image in my head of the thing.
Yes.
So the guy.
Yeah. And yeah, we actually have to take it out of, and yeah. The whole, if you're using it to influence someone, then yes. So I guess it could be if you were like,
That would influence me.
yeah, yeah, it has tendency to influence most people. But yeah, if people have questions about it, one of the things that we've noticed is, our calls for service are going up. Our arrests last year went up from the year before, but our force did not. So that's good. I get asked this every once in a while. Well, do you think it'll just ever go down to 0? And no, I don't. We're going to hit a number that we probably sit pretty consistently at as far as like percentage of use of force versus calls and stuff like that. And, there may be, because our numbers are relatively small, what we have to be careful about is that a change in 1 or 2 can look like a significant percentage change when your numbers are small. So we always try to be able to articulate, if you see a big change, what that is.
As the city becomes more populated,
Mm-hmm.
it makes sense that calls would become higher.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because per capita, what does the per capita, I didn't notice.
Yeah.
that, But per capita, are calls the same year over year? Or, from like one town to another town?
No, I mean, and we don't
I mean,
necessarily,
I know that like,
Yeah.
there are some cities that of course have more
right,
calls in crime than others, but like generally like Eugene to Springfield.
right.
Per capita call rate.
I don't know. I don't know that we've ever compared if it stayed the same. I mean, I know our population increased a little bit last year, but I don't know if that if we had 2,000 people here last year and we had, 400 calls, now we have 3,000 people, would we have 600 calls? I don't know if that's about the same. But I think we went up, I don't know, 800 some calls last year. So, yeah. Yeah.
So as far as the report being generated, I imagine this is requirement or state licensing, probably the accreditation board. No, this is something that you choose to do.
You don't have to. I mean, there are certain statistics that we have to report or that we report like to the FBI and stuff. I think most agencies now across the country are doing something like this. Some agencies, it's just really a graph. This is what we used X amount of times. We try to go pretty in depth and provide as much information as we can because it is a topic that people are interested in. And so we like to be able to show everything that we're doing. I think that, so we have an analyst that works on this and she works on it, obviously throughout the year. And so I feel like we provide like a really good report on what the officers are doing.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this other document we have in front of us is the 2024 complaints and recommendations.
Yep.
That was also just completed and put online, and we've been doing this one for a couple years.
I think we've been doing about the same. Yeah, at least 2 or at least 3. Because there was one, I know for sure at least 1 before I got here and then 2 since, or maybe it's 4, because this would be my 3rd one. Yeah.
So it says draft, but it has been considered.
Yeah, I needed to ask Lily about that.
Oh,
That's the
whoops.
one she had me publish.
Well, that's a bummer.
I know, I need
Oh,
to ask
we'll
her.
change that, yeah.
I didn't notice till I printed it.
Oh, that's kind of, yeah. I've looked at it twice and it did not even cross my mind that it says draft right there. 'Cause I see it so often, I'm like, okay, yeah. But no, that's the actual draft. Or the actual, you know, print
Report.
thing. That's the
That's the
report,
final report.
yes. So again, you know, when you look at our percentage of calls and percentage of arrests, it's pretty low, the number that we use force. And so again, when people, you know, we're gonna hit years where it's gonna bump up a little bit. It's really, really low. So if it continues to go lower, but it's just gonna hit a spot where I think we're gonna kind of average right around there.
The first page of the
Yeah.
text, it's kind of a breakdown, it's distribution of different calls for service, so. Almost 3,600 calls by Goods, that's
Yep.
a lot.
It is a lot.
Demonstrate value, right?
Yeah.
The calls that were handled by other personnel. Who does that constitute?
So I think like if you talk about, so if you talk about 1,079 were over the phone or at the lobby, dispatch calls, other personnel, I think. Oh, we're not dispatched or were handled by other personnel. So some of the calls obviously are not ours. I'm thinking like if it's, detectives. Trying to think of who else would be. Other personnel, yep, CSOs could be that. No, CSOs are up at the top. Who's detectives? I'll have to find out, because I remember asking that question and I don't remember the answer. So I will find out for you.
Yeah,
I think
just
what I
curious.
want to say is is we decided it went somewhere else, like, okay, that's a fire call, or that's so we should have been more clear that it's not a PD call. Yeah.
Would it be records? Because records is not listed up there. Handled over the phone or at lobby.
That's
Yeah.
what I was thinking that is, so I'll find out. Pretty sure it's just not SPD.
Comments or questions on that report? Anybody online? Questions or comments?
They're shaking their head no.
Well, okay, great information. Like the patrol staff and other staff get copies of these or
Oh, yeah.
staff.
Yep, we share it with them before we present it or before the report goes out. And then they're all welcome to come and ask questions. You know, that's why I say, because a lot of times they're like, you know, why do we report on show of force when other agencies don't? And I try to say, because it shows that you're doing a really good job. And we want to be able to show what's effective. And that is it is very effective. So they have the opportunity to ask questions and stuff too. Yeah.
Yeah, moving right along here, member information share. Following our new practice. with the round table.
Yes.
Start online.
Sure.
Counselor Weber, anything for you?
I didn't quite catch what you said, Eric.
Sorry, any information that you'd like to share with the committee?
Not that I can think of at the moment.
Okay. Cindy, how about for you?
I can't think of anything either.
Okay. Terry?
I was wondering, do you break down, well, I'm pretty sure you do, areas? I was told today by somebody, probably not in the know,
Mhm.
but, but that crime in the Washburn area is accelerating.
I have not heard that that is. It doesn't mean that it hasn't gone up, but it hasn't like gone
Lot
up
of
to where
car
they would,
break-ins is what
where they said anything to me, but we do. So we have districts that the officers work. And we could pull up crime in different geographic areas, all of that kind of stuff, but so we have like east side, west side, and then those areas are broken down into smaller areas where the officers work, so we could pull it up by that.
Mhm.
But we can basically look and say, we want to know how many crimes were committed between, 4th and 10th and Main and Centennial, and we could do something like that. I can check and see if there's any like accuracy to that in that, you said Washburn area, like so
Yeah.
right over here.
Yeah.
And see, but it's nothing that has risen to the point where like our lieutenants are telling the officers like, hey, go look at this, or we're
Right.
seeing an increase in this type of call or something. You say car break-ins or
Car
stolen cars?
break-in.
Car break-ins. Okay.
Yeah.
And usually the officers are pretty good because we are an agency, which is really nice to be this size, is that they kind of pick up on that stuff too.
Mhm.
And they'll be like, oh, hey, I'm seeing this more in this area, or we're having like detectives, if they're having, burglaries of
Mhm.
residential or commercial areas, they see that and they'll let the officers know. So.
Oh, for crying out loud. Sorry. it's
No,
my
you're all
mom.
good. You can't ever hang up on your mom.
Well, I've even got it on silent. I don't know how she broke through.
It's the power of mom.
Yeah. Must be.
Yeah. Exactly. But yeah, I'll check on that
Thank you.
and get back to you, and then I'll get back on who are the other personnel too. I know it, but I can't think of it.
Thanks.
Recently, a few weeks ago, we had an incident, the accident on Main Street. I live out in the Thurston area.
Yeah,
We're still running through pole. I know some people lost, power.
yes.
And I appreciate the media coverage on that, or the information you guys shared, kind of updating our community, and because our kids heard all the signs like, what's going on? What's
Yeah.
happening? And we've got a few sources within that helps get us some information, but George is always sending reports out, or you guys send the reports out, and we see it, and we get them in the email, and I feel like I did that quicker, so share it with my family and kids, and then they ask questions, but it's great to know like what's going on around our town and community, so I appreciate that. And another compliment is like SOR officers, and Mr. Robinson is responsible for the Thurston Elementary and Middle
Mhm.
School, and both my kids go to each one of those, and they love them, so it's always
Oh,
good
it's
to
good to
hear
hear.
good things about him.
I appreciate that. And thanks for sharing about the media releases and that kind of stuff, because Tiffany does all of our social media releases, and then George or Justin Myers, the other lieutenant, will work on the press releases and stuff. And so sometimes they're like, does anybody pay attention to this? And then people do pay attention to it. So it's always nice when we hear that, like, I appreciate knowing, because yeah, when 6 blocks just goes dark, you're
Yeah.
wondering what's happening.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's on the Thurston neighborhood news very quickly.
Yes.
I know Missionary is
Yep.
on it and a part of it
Uh-huh.
as well, and people get a little crazy and have some
Yes.
ideas of what's going on.
Yeah.
That's kind of just wait for the report.
And the SPAC committee is on our press release
Yeah.
distribution list. the other
Oh,
day.
good.
Which
Yeah,
I
which
appreciate.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Well, like I always tell people, I'm like, if we don't tell them what's going on, they're going to try to decide what's going
Exactly.
on. And you can come up with all kinds of stuff.
And people do all the time.
Uh-huh. Yes, exactly. So,
The great imaginations.
mm-hmm. Yep.
I did not come with this, but our guest reminded me to talk about, because I'm also on 32nd.
Uh-huh.
And there is an uptick of very fast driving on 32nd, especially late at night. And I know that when I was on BPAC years ago, before the pandemic, there had been talk about putting either one of the rapid flashing beacons, is that what it's called? Or,
One of those
or-
sign display that displays your speed. Is that what you're talking about? No.
the crosswalk
Oh,
things.
Oh,
the-
gotcha.
The yellow light.
Yeah.
Or something that slows traffic there at like 32nd in Virginia.
Okay.
And they did put a temporary RFB, I think that's what they're called, back in like 2018, 2019. And then it was gone. So I don't know if you have heard anything about any, no? Okay.
No, but,
Those are public works.
yeah, I would say. I can
Sometimes they
ask
don't tell us
them.
these things are happening.
And there's also part of me that like, okay, because I'm in a weird mood, I'm gonna share stuff I probably shouldn't share. So my mom used to be convinced that all police departments, not just Springfield, but she never lived here, so she never talked about it. But all police departments had areas that they watched out so that, because they knew people always disobeyed the law, the traffic laws, so that they could, they were traps. There's always little trap areas. Like, if there are trap areas, they should hang out on 32nd. There's always, there's usually like at least once a day, somebody like hauling butt
Down that
32nd.
road. Okay.
And not once, like up and down,
Uh-huh.
so.
32nd, what to what?
Maine to Jasper,
Okay.
so south 32nd.
Some new high-end cameras, they just installed at the car wash.
Uh-huh.
Oh, you the car wash dude?
No, I'm not, I did the cameras there.
Okay.
I'm not, in relationship to the owners of that, but.
Yeah. That's the world's largest car wash, by the way.
I don't know. Have you seen the one by Chick-fil-A? I think it's bigger.
I don't know.
I don't know. They're just
Yeah,
doing
they're opening about
they're
the
just
same
testing
time, I
it.
think.
They said like the second week of June or something.
Yeah,
Okay.
the one
Yeah.
next to Chick-fil-A is huge too. And they opened a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, yeah. Are they owned by the same people?
No, I think it's a whole
Is it-
different
is it
name.
different?
Yeah, that's enough.
There's an interesting backstory I'll tell you about after.
Oh, well, everybody should have clean cars because there's a lot of
Yeah.
car washes. So,
Right? They keep opening more.
yeah.
They were also, they're sold, it's a new owner now.
I don't have any updates to share.
Okay.
All right. Well,
Okay, well,
if that's
the
it,
end of our agenda.
I guess we're adjourned unless you online have anything else to say? No? All right, well, I guess we're done a little early and you can enjoy the rest of your evening. Sorry about the audio issues.
Yeah, we'll figure that out.
All right, good night.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Blankenship on South 32nd.